Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Argos Zenith and Carrain here on Steps of War. Argos Zenith spawning as the red Zerg player over here on the south side of Steps of War. Meanwhile, we have Carrain spawning over here on the north side of Steps of War. So it should be a pretty interesting matchup. A lot of you guys have been asking for Zerg versus Zerg gameplay, and how come there's no Overlord picture here? That's kind of odd. Does it pop up here? No, it looks like I turned off that the unit displays. So maybe a little bit of an issue. Okay, there's the drone, and there we go. Okay, so there was a little bit of an issue there. Now you can actually see the little Overlord trying to lick the camera and yeah, all that fun stuff. Back over here, we do still have, wait a second, we have a very early spawning pool coming in from Argos Zenith. So Argos Zenith with a very early spawning pool, maybe trying to do some sort of 6 pool or 7 pool strategy. And this is going to be a very, very viable rush just because it is on Steps of War. It's a very short running distance between these two locations, and now it really going to depend if Carrain tries to do anything crazy on this map, such as trying to go for an early hatchery like a 14 or 15 hatchery, he is going to quickly find himself behind the 8-ball. He really needs to go for an earlier spawning pool as well, and it looks like he may be just doing that. Yeah, going for an 11 spawning pool. So 11 spawning pool compared to a 6 spawning pool. You can see Argos Zenith already nearly completed on this spawning pool. And as these Zerglings are going to be trained up, yeah, in comes this drone. Drone does not see this yet. Now, and out comes the drone, and drone looking to see if there's any sort of spawning pool and sees that it's already completed. So Carrain really needs to play more of a defensive game now. But he needs to save up these larvae just because he knows that there are going to be Zerglings incoming. It will take a little bit of time to run across the map. I don't know if it's going to be enough for Carrain to get enough units. So taking a look over here, he has currently 1 larva. Really needs to get 2, maybe even 3 larvae, as the Zerglings are already out. Zerglings already out running across the map. And still more Zerglings being trained. That spawning pool has yet to be completed, so it takes 24 units of time for Zerglings to be completed, and there we go. So now 4 Zerglings to try to counter the 6 Zerglings that are already going to be in the base here. And is it going to be enough? There is also a spine crawler that was trying to be built into the base of Carrain. So is it going to try to come into play? No, not going to come into play, as now drone just running around. Zerglings just dealing a lot of damage here. There are more Zerglings here, but is it going to be enough? Zerglings trying to come back. Taking a look at the harvester count, we have what, 10 harvesters versus 7 still, so that early aggression may not be able to pay off. There are a lot of low hit point drones though, and now down to 9. Is it going to be enough to deal any significant damage? No, 2 more Zerglings come in, and no, not going to be able to deal enough at all, as the Zerglings of Carrain able to fend off this attack. More Zerglings coming behind from Argos Zenith, so it looks like he's really pressuring in for this rush here. Argos Zenith trying to just do this all with a very, very small Zergling army, as these Zerglings now hopping around, going to go ahead and hit the back of the base. Unit combination, there are what, 10 Zerglings versus 8 Zerglings, and are those 2 Zerglings in the back going to be able to really deal any damage? We do see that Argos is still behind in harvesters, 7 compared to 10, and also behind in terms of army as well. So there are going to be more Zerglings coming over here, and there's a nice split on this army, and now Carrain being forced to pull some drones off and back over to the other side. So even though Carrain has more drones, he's been constantly being forced to move around these drones as more Zerglings come in as well. So this is going to be a major Zergling battle, a Zergling micro battle, as Zerglings coming in from the south and from the west. At the same time, 1 drone going to get taken down. Carrain now may lose a couple more drones here as these Zerglings continue to battle. Back over here, we have a little bit of aggression, and now these Zerglings are being forced to pull back once again. So Carrain now down to 8 drones. So beautiful Zergling micro coming in from Argos. And Argos doing a great job, but now that that queen is out, it's going to be a little bit more difficult as he's splitting these 2 Zerglings. So Zerglings engaging over here. Now Zerglings going to go ahead and push on over here and now be able to run very quickly on creep. In comes those Zerglings. Zerglings now going to try to take down the queen. No, now being forced to pull back. I do not believe that Argos will be able to deal any significant damage now that that queen is out. That queen has 175 hit points and that range of 3. But once again, coming back in, and now Zerglings just running through rampant. Carrain now getting a Roach Warren as well. So Roach Warren and still training up more drones. So Carrain doing a great job trying to stay in this game still. And now these Zerglings are going to just chase very, very slowly back and forth. I do not see any metabolic boost at all. There are double overlords sitting out here, and now it looks as though Argos Zenith realizes that he cannot get the damage that he wants, and he in fact did, getting more drones. So another just splitting up these Zerglings and just playing ring around the hatchery, able to also take down the queen. So the queen was also taken down, so Carrain's going to be forced to retrain that queen, and that's going to be very, very difficult, as these Zerglings now going to go ahead and regroup. Army wise, 21 Zerglings for Argos, Carrain down to 12. And now that we have Roach Warrens though, the Roach Warren with that Roaches with that 1 armor will be able to take a lot of damage, and with that range of 3, maybe able to get off a couple key splash attacks. The roaches, however, do attack very slowly. Zerglings engaging against more Zerglings here, gonna quickly get destroyed, but now in come another swarm of Zerglings, and Carrain definitely in trouble. He needs to train up more and more roaches. There is one roach there. That one roach does not have that fast of a movement speed, even on creep, compared to a Zergling. Zergling high in the 3.5s or higher than 3.5. The roach barely not even breaking 3. We do see more roaches being trained up. An assimilator now being thrown down by Argos. So Argos not going to be able to do anything there. And I believe there was a roach warren or a baneling nest that was trying to be built, but I believe it was canceled as soon as he saw some roaches. So now we have the queen coming into play. And now going to start using some spawn larvae as we have Zerglings moving over here. This is going to be a very nice position as you're going to start trying to take down these back rocks over here. There are still a good amount of Zerglings and roaches holding off this front door here. So those roaches with that 1 armor, like I said earlier, and that 16 damage are able to 3-hit Zerglings, even though that is a very slow rate of attack. So Overlords now moving out. All these Overlords giving great sight into the base of and on that front door on Carrain. We do have Zerglings over here trying to take this down. One Zergling now moving out, venturing very, very dangerously alone. And now we do have over here creep tumors now being laid down. Now this is one of those instances where I'm not 100% sure if you really want to be laying down creep tumors. Are we getting the metabolic boost? Not just quite yet, as now these rocks nearly destroyed. We do have the Overlord there, and now we are going to have that queen engage that Zergling and take it down before it's really able to get in this creep tumor. And will enable any Zerglings and roaches to also move much more quickly as another Zergling tries to move out. The Overlord should be able to spot this. Is it going to be enough? The queen going to go ahead and move out and try to engage that Zergling once again. Make sure that the Zergling doesn't get any sight. This is one of the issues of Carrain. Carrain is basically fighting in the dark at this stage in the game. Does not know what tech to expect. And we are not even getting the metabolic boost yet. There is mining of a lot of gas. He's sitting on 240 gas, but isn't spending any of it. Finally getting a roach warren, but really sitting on so much gas, and that gas might be better use on minerals at this stage, but might now maybe trying to get an expansion over here on the low ground. No. Once again, canceling another building. I'm not exactly sure why Argos Zenith constantly builds buildings and then cancels them. There are Zerglings finishing taking down these rocks over here. So now this front door is going to be much more exposed. There is one Overlord here trying to keep its distance, making sure that there is no queen over here that can snipe it down. Back over here, we are now upgrading to tier 2. So Carrain upgrading to tier 2 may be able to get Mutalisk, and that would be a very, very strong advantage indeed for Carrain. And it does look like he is going to go for Mutalisk as he's throwing down a second extractor now. Back over here, we do have a second extractor already from Argos. Metabolic boost now being researched, and now upgrading to the layer as well. Back over here, Zerglings continuing to fight. No, Zerglings continue to hang on to this front door here as more Zerglings positioning themselves here. So Zerglings on the front door, Zerglings on this ramp, just trying to contain. And it does not look like Argos is really going for... Oh, Zergling now trying to do some sort of run by, will not be able to get there, and now getting choked up on a lot of these roaches. So Zerglings just butting their heads up against this choke point here. And is it going to be enough to take down even more of these Zerglings? Will it be enough? Roaches going to get taken now. Only 2 roaches left, and down they go. So we have 16 Zerglings that will be able to run rapidly through. No, there are some roaches now, and 1 queen as well. Not training up a second queen, now getting that spawn larva. And as these Zerglings are just going to try to run in, will it be enough? There is a really tight choke point here. Zerglings trying to swarm around, trying to get damage on these roaches. More roaches pushing through, and Zerglings just fighting back and forth. I'm not 100% sure if Argos Zenith will be able to get the damage that he needs here, but there are Zergling reinforcements. Roaches continuing to fight. Roaches with that 1 armor really reducing the damage on those Zerglings from 6 down to 5. So that is a significant damage decrease there. So is it 6? Oh, 5 down to 4, excuse me. So that's a 20% decrease. Now Zerglings going to be able to quickly run around as they have that metabolic boost now. Roaches need to run to the back, perhaps even research Burrow to try to regenerate some of those hit points. He needs to get every ounce of minerals and health out of those roaches. Zerglings now trying to put a little bit of pressure on that extractor, now pulling back around as these Zerglings just running very, very quickly on this creep. Back over here, I still do not see any sort of Mutalisk production. And as Zerglings now trying to peck away at this roach warren over here, Zerglings now may be able to get a swarm around on these roaches. Roaches continuing to spawn, and now these Zerglings going to try to get a quick surround on these roaches down over here. But those roaches should be able to hold off this attack here as more and more roaches coming to reinforce. However, no Burrow research yet. Really needs to get Burrow research to try to regenerate some of these hit points. and then just start playing whack-a-mole with these roaches. These roaches, once they're low on hit points, can regenerate very quickly while burrowed. Back over here, Zergling's now trying to get into position. One roach coming over here, now going to get flanked as these roaches try to hold this very, very tight choke point, and that's a very decent maneuver by Carrain. Carrain, if he's able to hold this choke point here, Zerglings will not be able to do any sort of run by, and the range of those three, or the three range of these roaches should be able to hold up a good deal of roaches, or a good deal of Zerglings. So Zerglings now finally being forced to pull back here. More and more Zerglings still being trained, and we're finally getting some roaches, and Carrain now getting the movement speed on those roaches. So roaches just standing here. So this is not the standard Zergling Baneling battle that I've normally been seeing so far. There are still more and more roaches being massed. Carrain sitting currently supply locked at 50 over 50, as these Zerglings may try to do a no, not going to be able to do any sort of run by, as these roaches are just hovering on top of this ramp. But I'm still surprised that there is no burrow. Burrow only cost, what, I believe 100 or 50, or yeah, I believe it's 100, and really would regenerate all of these roaches back up to full hit points at this stage in the game, and essentially give you 2 to 3 fresh new roaches. Back over here, we are getting more armies. Production-wise, we are now getting a Hydralisk den for Carrain. So Carrain now getting that Hydralisk den, and this is going to become a Roach Hydralisk army. That is a very, very decent maneuver. And now Argos Zenith moving in with these Overseers. Oh, doing a quick corruption on that lair, but I do not believe it really does anything. Does it stop these? Oh, no, it does not even stop the Zerg Cocoon. So corruption or contaminate does not stop any buildings for Zerg, perhaps any other research, but really the layer still trying to do that spawn larva ability, and now these Zerg Cocoons still being trained up as well, so it doesn't really stun anything there. Back over here, we do have more roaches, and now we do have just Overseer just running around, getting another contaminate, but yeah, contaminate doesn't do anything on a layer, so that's a little bit of a surprise. Carrain now with these Hydralisks as well will be able to start attacking more and more roaches, finally moving out, as there's some Zerglings down over here. And yeah, moment of silence because a lot of people say I talk too much. Anyways, Hydralisk and roaches back over here. Are they going to be able to move out? Are they going to be able to deal the amount of damage that they want to? Argos Zenith now spreading out with these creep tumors. Will it be enough as these roaches continue to scamper about, trying to hunt for any of those Zerglings? Army-wise, Argos Zenith definitely behind, sitting at 800 versus 1700, and things are not looking good. There are roaches, there are Hydralisks. Roaches having a movement speed of 3, so moving very, very quickly. Hydralisks are going to also get a movement speed bonus as well as soon as they get on that creep, and these roaches now with a movement speed of 3.9 will be able to deal significant damage. We do have, what, 3 queens on this, 3 queens, roaches, and now some spine crawlers, so this may be enough to hold off this whole entire attack. Roaches trying to do some sort of run by, and now Transfusion constantly healing more and more. Some of these queens getting taken down. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Argos, Zenith, and Carrain here on Steps of War.